I discovered a problem I didn't even know I had. Well, it's cold and rainy, so I can't get anything done outside with the gardening or with the house. So I might as well just come on in the shop here and do something. So hello everyone and welcome to my shop. I might as well get on the 3,000 mile maintenance which is due on the Chevy here. That's right. When I did the PM last fall, I didn't think I'd get to the 3,000 so soon, but I've been really driving this thing a lot. So we're going to change the oil filter. We're going to check the plugs. And if you watched my previous vlog on this on the Chevy, I'll pop it up here somewhere. You'll know that I encountered a situation where my timing had retarded all on its own. Now this is an electronic distributor and it shouldn't be changing. So we're going to get into looking into that too. We're going to adjust the brakes, check them, adjust them. My parking brake's not catching real good, so we're going to check that out and check some other stuff while we got it up. So anyway, stay tuned and let's get busy on this cold and dreary late April day. All right, normally I'd take this thing out and run it around and get it warmed up, but with all that rain and everything, I'm just going to run it here in the shop and get it warmed up. But before I do that, I'm real curious to how the plugs look. So I'm going to pull the plugs while everything is still cold and easy to work around and see what they tell us. Right, that looks really good, real good. All right, let's see if I can get a close-up of that. See how good he's burning? Now, you know, I run a lot of that ethanol blend, so you can't really get a real good idea of what you're burning, but see the way that's actually almost perfect. So there's no black soot on the tip or anything. It's not wore. There's no deposits. Of course, this is plug 1. We're going to look at them all. I'm not even going to have to clean that plug. And that's 6,000 miles on that dude. Number 2 looks just as good. All right. You know, there's a line you're supposed to look for And you can barely see it. I may go over here to my magnifying glass. Just a little shine down on there. That may be too bright, but the line is about halfway between the tip here and the bend. You can see where the color changes. I don't know if this is picking up or not, but that's almost perfect. That indicates the timing may be a little bit on the retarded side, actually. See, it needs to be really centered. So it could be more to this way, to the left of the video here. So anyway, timing still looks pretty good. All right. These 6-cylinders spoil you. Just so easy to get at stuff. Number 3 looks good. I won't bore you with any more of them. If I find one that doesn't look good, I'll bring it up. I forgot to add that these are Autolite 803s, looks like. Okay. Yep, 803s. And they're burning really good. This is number 5. So far, all of them are looking exactly the same. All right, this is number 6. Theoretically, this plug, this cylinder, since it's the furthest away from the water pump and the cool water coming in, or coolant coming in and radiator, that it would be hottest back there towards the back of the head and engine. And this plug is in exact same condition as the previous 5. So, I have no overheating problems at all with this thing, and I really cleaned the block out when I rebuilt it. So this is indicating to me that even the back of the cylinders back there, furthest away from the coolant, is not getting hotter at all. Really looks good. All right, now we're going to check into the mystery of the timing adjustment, self-timing adjustment. All right, we got that here. I think I got a light down there. Right here, that bolt here is how we adjust our timing. And if you see right here where my finger's pointing on the block, on the boss here, there's a line. Now, the original distributor had graduations marked here on the adjustment of the distributor where you could actually do an octane adjustment, a timing octane adjustment on the fly. Gas was so, the octane and quality was so different between stations back in the day that Chevrolet made a way of adjusting the timing to get the best out of it depending upon your gas. Well, anyway, I made a mark here, and I have advanced it more doing a road test, like if you've seen that in my previous video where I discovered that my timing had retarded by 7 degrees. Well, anyway, we're going to try to see what's loose. Now, I've got him cinched down. Now, let's see if I can show it. Down here on the very bottom, right here, is an Allen wrench that secures this clamp here to the distributor. It sets the height of the distributor, and it also adjusts it. Let me see if I can turn the distributor, and it is locked tighter than the drum. So that Allen wrench is not loose. Now that's really adding to the mystery here. Let's bring it back up. Let's do some more checks. While everything's still cool, I'm going to look inside the distributor. Just see what we got. But it's still baffling me as to why that timing changed. See if I see anything that jumps out. Rotor button looks good. Springs look good. Limiters are still intact. Okay. Alright. Well, let's look on the back side of this rotor button. I don't see anything, no carbon tracks or anything. Okay, just doing an inspection on the, just doing an overall inspection. Everything looks good. The mystery, I thought I had that clamp tight. When I went to adjust it on the road, it seemed like it was tight. I guess it could have been loose somewhat. Guarantee you it won't be now. Alright, let's look on the inside of this extruder cap. Alright, we're looking for any kind of telltale carbon. And now there is a little bit of something there, right there. Alright. You can go ahead and clean him up. Yeah, he just wiped right off. Okay. And I lost my rag. Okay, everything else looks good. But right there, what plug number? That's between 1 and 5. Okay. 1 and 5. Let me wipe it a little bit better. It's a war spot. Could have been making contact there. Everything else looks good. Alright. Nothing to make contact. Alright. Well, that's one of the benefits of not having points. That's it. All right, we're going to start it up and let it warm up, and we'll go from there. Well, all right, I spared you watching an old man jack a truck up for the umpteenth time. So let's get this thing started. Boy, this is like a four-wheel drive. Timing light, tax oil. That's about medium fast idle. While it's warming up, I'm going to show you my oil change. I'm going with Rotella T1 straight weight 30. That's what I broke it in with. Now, back in the day, it called for 20 weight non-detergent. I thought about going with multi-grade, but I broke it in with 30, straight 30, and I have no issues at all, so I'm going to stay with it. And I like Rotella T1 because it still has higher levels of ZDDP, which is an additive that they had back in the day for flat tap at the cams and lifters. So that's why I'm staying with that. Normally I'd get like 6,000 miles out of one of these bypass oil filters, but I'm changing this one now after 3,000 miles because, we're not that far from break-in and I don't know what all it's going to catch. So here's the filter and the new O-ring. This Wix is a 51100. The Fram equivalent is a C4. So if you can't find a Wix locally, you may be able to find a Fram. I'll also keep my manuals nearby. This is the truck shop manual, 48 to 53, and this is my manual I put together with all the custom stuff. Now what this has, it has my custom settings from when I fine-tuned it, and this shows when I'm idling at 650 RPM, I should be at 12 degrees before top dead center. Right now, I don't know what I'm at. I bet you I'm real close to it. So we'll be seeing once this warms up. The choke is totally off now, and you can see I'm idling between 660 to 650 RPM, which is about the smoothest I can get this engine to idle. But in my trial and errors, this is the smoothest I can get it is 650. Now a stock 235 would be idling all the way down to 450, between 450 and 550. And but this, it just has too much of a lope in it, and I don't like it sitting there vibrating all over the place. So that's where I'm at. I'm gonna let it warm up some more before I go to check the timing and then set it if I need to. Now to recap, how I came up with the 12 degrees before top dead center is after I put this Pertronix distributor in, even when I had the stock distributor, I set it to the max mechanical advance. Now at around 3,000 RPM, both of the distributors, meaning the stock distributor and the that Pertronix flamethrower, they should be at their maximum mechanical advance at 3,000 RPM. And most of the paperwork and everything I've read and studied says with a 6-cylinder, I should be around 28 to 30 degrees before top dead center, maximum mechanical advance. And that is with the vacuum advance disconnected, all right? So what I did is I adjusted the springs and everything to where I got 30 point something, 30.1, 0.2 maximum mechanical advance at 3,000 RPM. And that's what I wanted. And what that did is at idle, it was at 12 degrees before top dead center at idle. Now a stock 235 actually times at 2 degrees after top dead center. So that's a pretty good swing. That's like what, 14 degrees. But that's what you get when you go with a hot cam, dual carburation, better exhaust. So anyway, that's how I come up with the 12 degrees before top dead center. And my road test since then said that that's exactly where I want it. So that's where I'm going to set it. We'll let it warm up a little bit more and then we'll get at it. All right, my temperature's up to 180, where I want it. I'm gonna disconnect the vacuum, even though I should have no vacuum at this idle. We're disconnecting him. All right, we're gonna set our timing light now. Where I'm gonna set it first to 12. Let's see where we're at. All right, we're at 12 degrees. Let's see where it's at. All right, it's close. All right, we're going to now loosen the distributor. Still can't really see, but it's right on the line, right smack dab on it. Yeah. Well, I don't know if you can see or not. back up. That timing should not, the RPM should not change. And you notice it didn't. So that verifies when you're idling, you don't want any vacuum. Now, some people will go by the school of getting max vacuum at idle and adjusting it that way. I don't happen to go by that school of thought. I like the advance to be introduced as it's needed under load and not sitting there our maximum vacuum advance already. But anyway, if that's how you do it and it works good for you, that's fine. That's not the school I learned under. But anyway. You know, there's a train of thought. If it's dark like that, that means it's really keeping it clean on the inside. All right. Yes, and I know some of you all are curious about how I'm venting because you're concerned that I might be breathing in all that carbon monoxide. But here you go. You can see I'm venting through those two tubes out my back window back here. And you can see I got my door cracked open here too. It's cold, but that's okay. At least I got fresh, breathable air. So, rest assured, I'm not trying to commit suicide. Right, now let's concentrate on this filter. This is a 5/8 wrench and nut up top. All right. Okay. You can see that's kind of a special nut. All right. All right. He seals down on there. All right. Take him off. Here's that. Here's the O-ring. I'll put that in there. There's the spring. You want to make sure you keep him. And here's the filter. That's what I did not want to do. See? It's just so full of oil. Yeah, we got a cup down there. I'll show you. All right. I'll keep that there. You really can't tell if it stopped anything. All right. Okay. Now I'm going to show you, see how much oil is still left in that filter canister? And I've only got a small cup down there. That may not be enough. I don't know. We shall see here momentarily. Now down there you can see there's the bolt. Right there, that'll drain the canister. All right. There we go. Get this out of the way. All right. Just everything about changing oil in these things is just nasty. Probably ought to put me a glove on. Let's see how much I can catch. before it fills. Alright, one cup wasn't enough. Okay, I'll need to dump that and get him again. See if I can pull him out without spilling it. There. Okay, what I looked for was any kind of metal, anything gleaming. All right, now I didn't see anything shiny or gleaming, okay? That ought to be enough to get all the rest of it down. All right, it's not. It's holding more than I thought. And I'm getting it all over the place. Well, I thought I could cheat. Okay. Yep, all everywhere. There just ain't a easy way to do it. I'll just get it all drained and then I'll get it, clean it up. Alright, here's the last, hopefully. Alright. I'm looking for crud at the bottom. I don't see a whole lot of anything, really. There's a little bit of... No, I don't see any flakes. Alright, I'll show you. Okay. Remember, what you see here on the outside is unfiltered, and it actually, I'll show you here momentarily how it works, but if I can get this light to stay. All right, where's that hole? There's a hole. It's a gauge hole, and he's way up here somewhere. There's a hole in this down tube. The oil fills the canister, goes through the filter medium, and then it goes through the small hole in this down tube, and that's where it drains back down into the engine. And I couldn't feel that hole. It should be, that looks like the level. Well, there it is. I just felt it. Right there. Right where my finger's at. See if I can get around to the other side. See the hole right there? Get the light to stand still. Right there's the hole, right there. See it? You see it now? Okay. There you go. That's how it drains. That little hole is how it controls the oil. Now, the reason why it's designed like that is the filter taps onto the main oil gallery that feeds the main bearings, the cam bearings, the rod bearings, the crank, all that, and eventually up to the top end. And if it wasn't for that restriction in this oil filter, it would take half, if not more than half, of all that oil pressure and route it through to the filter, and it would that could rob needed pressure and oil volume to these internals. So that restriction is there is to slow it down through the filter, and that way it forces the majority of the pressure to go to the engine. So that's the science behind that. And it works great. I mean, it works good and lasts a long time. So anyway. Well, oil's all over everything down there. I'm going to put the plug back in. That's the plug that's on the bottom of the canister. All right. He's like a pipe thread. All right. Once I get him in and secure, I'll clean up my mess. And it is a mess. Two clicks of the wrist. All right. And the blasted oil. So it took, that canister held let's say 2.5 cups, because that probably got the other half spilt all over the place down there. So anyway, and when you do the math, that's almost almost seems like almost a quart, doesn't it? All right, let's get this here all cleaned up. We're going to smoke. I got some on that exhaust manifold in there. The one that gives me trouble all the time. Oh, I know what I forgot to get. I'm going to go by the John Deere dealer. I'm going to give you some corn head grease for that steering gearbox. And, well, I got most of it off. Okay. It's going to smoke. That's all there is to it. Yeah, I put 80/90 in the steering gearbox before, and it's just too thin. You know, it needs something really thick, almost like a lubrication grease or something. Okay. All right. All right. There's the new filter. See, it's got rubber O-seal. That's why it popped off and made the, that seals it to where the oil, it forces the oil to go through these holes here through the element to the inside and then into that tube. All right. And it's a good tight fit. All right. The spring's kind of cone shaped, so I put the big end down at on the bottom. Okay. All right. And I'm going to pull the old seal out. Okay. There's the old seal. Yeah, there's a coating of oil on that, on the inside. All right. We'll put some, I'm actually going to put some oil in it, but I need to crawl back under there and put the oil drain plug back in. Let me do that first. Then I'm going to actually put some oil in this to prime it, and we'll go from there. One of the drips I had underneath this truck was from this oil, the oil drain plug here, and the old copper washer that was on it. Where we at? Here's the old copper washer. Now what I did is I got this, hold it back there, and it's a new plastic washer for the oil drain plug. Hopefully that'll stop one of the little drips I have off this engine. This new oil on the seal. Okay. Spring. Like that. Now there's a brass washer on top of that it's somewhat stuck to it, so I didn't pry it off. Unfortunately, you don't get a new one with any oil filter change or kit, so I leave it on, and so far it's sealed fine. So now we're going to put our bolt in. Okay, now he threads into that down tube, and you got to keep in mind you want him tight. because there is pressure in this canister coming from the engine. You know, about 35 to 40 psi depending upon your RPM. So anyway, and it's a 5/8 wrench. Yeah. See, I want to get that centered. There we go. A little bit more. There we go. Okay. So, you know, by feel, I guess there's a torque spec somewhere on it, maybe. I don't know. All right. Now we can get to where we're adding some oil to this pup. See how much we got. Not even showing. Okay. All right. Still over a quart low. Remember, that's a gallon. So. And I believe, I'll double check my paperwork, but this thing will hold 6 quarts, so you always need to get more than just a gallon. I like to get every little drop I can out of it. You know, this Rotella, it's outstanding oil, and it's inexpensive. I know it's rated for diesel, we already talked about that. It's a really good oil, and it used to, way back in the day, carry an S rating for, you know, gasoline engine, and I believe they went away from that. Now this is just a guess on my part. I don't know, you know, poop from Shinola, but I think they went away from it because of the catalytic converters, and the ZDDP is not good for catalytic converters. And so to keep people from using this good Shell Rotella diesel oil in their gasoline engines, they took the S rating off and just kept it as a C for which I believe means commercial, or actually for diesel. But anyway. But it works great in these old stove-bolt engines, and I'd say it worked great in your, it works good in my old Kohler air-cooled engines for my mowers. My pressure washer, I mean, I use this stuff in everything except my 2 POVs, my Ford pickup and my Toyota. They both get either semi-synthetic or full synthetic. Anyway, let's see where we're at. Just a little bit more. I like to put it at the very top line. See, this I haven't had to, you know, as much as this thing drips, I haven't had to add any since the last oil change, so that's a good thing. And so you put it at the very tip-top line. That way you account for, you know, drippage, and, you know, might burn a little bit. I don't know that this burns. According to them plugs, it ain't been burning any oil. So Them plugs, I'm very happy with those plugs. Extremely happy. Still showing up. Let's go check it again. You could have put that. Yeah. I could have put that turkey over a little bit more. Okay. You know, I may go to 10W30 for my winter change. I may just do that. I didn't experience any problems with that 30 weight. And these being solid lifters, I don't have that problem with pumping them up. But I went to 1030 in the 350. I originally tried 530, and it just the engine still, it's you know, I don't know the history of that engine. So I don't know how many miles were on it, how it was treated. I did, when I changed the intake manifold out, I could tell they at least did a regular oil change interval, because the valley looked good and somewhat clean. So you can see that in the video. But mileage wise, I don't know. And 530, it was just too noisy. It took too long for those lifters to pump up. So I went to 1030, fixed it right up. So anyway. And probably 1030 is what was spec for it originally anyway. Right on the line. We'll check it again. Something fell. Yes, sir. All right, what we're going to do, we're going to start it, run it for a little bit, just to get all that oil circulating and everything. And then let's see what it does. Okay. I'm gonna look underneath. One time when I changed the oil on the old 216, and it had nowhere near the oil pressure this 235 did. That 216 maybe pumped out about, I don't know, 15 PSI cold. When I first got it running, I didn't tighten this lid down good. Oh man, did it come out. You'd be surprised how much oil you can get out at 15 PSI. Anyway. Now at 6,000 miles, I should think about adjusting the valves. But you can hear it just as good as me. They ain't rattling at all. And you get to the point where if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I'm not worried about them valves adjusting at this time. You hear them electric chokes, they're opening more and more, which is kicking that idle down. I do kind of miss my manual choke. But then again, these are nice. Maybe I'll check the carburetor settings too. Yeah, maybe I'll do that while I'm at it. Choke's fully open on this one. And it's open on that one. Sometimes I think about changing out them air filters. .3/8. Metric. Many times as I've been in this, done this thing. All right, this is called I call it a snail gauge, but it's a AccuSync, I think it's what it's called. VeriSync. You use this to balance the throttle plates on your if you run multiple carburetors. Now there's a red little ball right here. I'll show you that when I put this on there, it'll, due to the airflow through it, the vacuum made, it'll center. There's graduations. You want to adjust it to where that red ball is right here in the middle, right? And you can do that by spinning this restrictor plate either out or in, okay? And you set that up to one carb. Your other carb, you want it to be the same. If it's too high, that means you got to set the idle down on that carb to get it down. And then if that drops your total idle, you need to set it back up on the other. You kind of go back and forth to the point where you get both of them centered. So let's see where we're at. All right, I'm gonna give you a close-up view on it so you can see. Turn the light on it, maybe it'll. Okay, there you go. All right, you can see the little red ball is not. All right, there you go. I'm adjusting it. I want it centered right there, pretty much centered. All right. So don't worry about it varying like that. It's centered. I mean, it's not a totally airtight seal. Now we come here to the back one, and it's just a little bit low. So actually, I need to turn that up a hair, or I need to turn this one down. Okay. So, okay, I'm going to go back. See, there he is. All right, we'll go back. He's just on the lower part of the line. And there, he's just on the upper. Actually, it's pretty close. Let me get a screwdriver. So it's kind of a balancing act. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this one up. All right. There's the idle screw right there. Okay, now I did raise my idle. Alright, so my idle's sitting there at around 650. Alright, so that's centered good. And he's centered good, so there you go. I just had a very little bit I had to adjust. Alright, Again, this is only needed if you do multiple carburetors. All right. Now I could try do my even a smaller screwdriver, my fuel air mixture. All right. Let's see where it settles down at. All right, 660, 650, somewhere around in there. All right. We'll start with this one. Right down here, this is the idle fuel air mixture. All right. And what I'm gonna do is turn it in until I start seeing it drop, the RPM, all right? It started dropping right off the bat. All right, now I'm gonna turn it back. You turn it a hair, wait, turn it a hair, wait, there you go. One more, there you go. All right, now let's do this one. Starting to drop. Bring it. There you go. All right, that's a good setting right there. See where it settles down at. All right. I discovered a problem I didn't even know I had. But anyway, what was happening is, see, these are two-barrel. These are progressive two-barrel carburetors, and they work off mechanical linkage. So when the primary side opens so much, it starts opening the secondary. Well, I noticed when I was playing with this thing that the secondaries weren't opening at all. I've been only running off the two barrels, the two primaries. And what I discovered was my linkages were not adjusted right. I had to lengthen them and readjust them on the rod to where it would pull it, the primaries enough to where then they'd start to open those secondaries. And so for the longest time I've been running just on two barrel as opposed to the four barrel. Isn't that something? Now I'm getting all four jets, all four barrels kicking in now when I open it up. Good deal. It's amazing what you find. I've been driving it like this for what? 2 years? Oh me. No, not 2 years. A year. Or is it 2? I don't know. I'll have to double check that. Well, all right. I believe I did get to the bottom of my change in timing. This Allen wrench here that tightens the clamp there. See if I can get a better, okay, there we go. This Allen bolt here, it tightens the clamp to the shaft of the distributor. And I decided I'd put an Allen wrench on it just to see how much it would turn, and by golly, it turned some. Even though I couldn't manually turn that timing by hand, the distributor by hand, I mean, when I was testing, that doesn't mean that didn't, this engine couldn't turn it when it's sitting there spinning at 2,000 RPM. So anyway, I cranked him tight. I got a good quarter turn more on it, so that may have been the problem. So we'll see when we go to ride it some more. Anyway, thought I'd update on that. All right. The tune-up part here is done. Since I've got that flamethrower distributor, I don't have any points to check or anything, but I did get into the distributor timing. And I think I found what caused it to shift. So I tightened that up, reset it, and we're good to go on that. I found some problems that I've had since I put this engine together with the linkages going to these two carburetors. I never really got that thorough in my testing to determine that my secondaries weren't even opening up. Well, how you like that? I'm starving this engine for, I mean, it'll probably run a lot harder now, but anyway, at least a little quicker. So we got that fixed, got the oil changed, and all right. Well, we'll just put it into that. Upcoming maintenance I'll be doing to this will be I'll be getting back on that ball housing again to see if I can stop the leak on it, that slow drippy leak. And I want to get on the rear brakes, not to replace them, but to adjust them and to adjust the parking brake. It's getting to where I'm pushing it almost to the floor now, the parking brake pedal, and it's barely catching. So I need to adjust the parking brake too. But anyway, that'll do it for this one. Stay tuned for the upcoming ones. So I hope everything's going good with you and yours. Going good here. And you have a good one. And we'll see you around on the next one. See ya.